In my last video, I talked about the philosophies that I had developed over the past year to finally beat art block. But I wanted to take it a step further. I wanted to prove to myself that I had the discipline and the motivation to consistently create day after day, month after month, year after year. So I started to think to myself, how can I pursue that goal? As I was brainstorming, I came across an account called slens.arte. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. She had created an art club where fans of her art could receive a new print every month by signing up. I really loved the idea. And as a side note, definitely check out her account. I follow her mainly on TikTok and I really like what she's putting out. So if that's something you're interested in, consider following. But it inspired me to look into the process of creating my own art club. And I guess it's not something new, but it's not something that I had heard about before. By having a monthly goal, this is something that would keep me accountable and honestly would fill a blind spot I have in looking into printers and suppliers. Because as an independent artist, I really haven't gone down that route, and I think it would do a lot for me to grow as an artist by looking into these options. So, with a little bit of research, I had a roadmap in front of me. 1. Come up with the idea of how my art club would even be run. How many tiers are there? What are the rewards? What's the benefit to people that sign up? And is it truly something that I can do long term? 2. Create the first artwork for my new art club for the month of June. That includes figuring out how big the art should be, what's the style that I want to do, how much time should I put into each piece. 3. Find a high quality and cost-effective supplier that can print my artwork. And 4. Hopefully at least one person signs up so I can have the dopamine hit of sending out my artwork to some people. As a small artist, I haven't really had the opportunity to, sell my artwork or give my artwork away to many people. So just the process of someone enjoying it or enjoying my art enough to purchase it would really mean the world, I guess. That's too sappy. 4. Send these bad boys out. Let's start with the idea of creating an art club in the first place. I needed to think about what I wanted to host it on, what were my membership tiers going to be, and were the rewards that I was going to offer going to be something that I could commit to long term. So after looking around for a little bit at the options that I could use to host an art club, I landed personally on Patreon. Now, part of that is I've actually had a Patreon for quite a while. I haven't really committed to it. And honestly, that's mostly on me not having a clear vision of what I was going to offer through Patreon. So it just made it an easy decision to choose since I was so familiar with the platform in the first place. But the second part of that was figuring out what my tiers actually were going to be, and also updating my Patreon to match more of my current style, my current branding. The very first tier was easy enough. I called it the support snail tier. And actually each of the tiers have an animal related to them, but for some reason the second tier, which I'll get to in a minute here, doesn't have any alliteration, so it's probably going to be changed at some point because the other two do have alliteration in the names. Anyway, the first tier is the support snail tier. This isn't supposed to be a commercial for the Patreon either, I just want to say how I set it up. The second tier was the sticker rat tier, which again, I don't know what I was thinking, alliteration fell through the floor on that one. The idea with the second tier is I can use my artwork that I create each month for Patreon, and I can remix it or use that art as inspiration to create a sticker. Finally, the third tier, which I called the print pigeon tier. This third tier would kind of be the meat and potatoes of this entire Patreon. It's all built around the idea of creating new artwork for the Patreon every month. I do want to make a note here. This 5x7 print is going to be exclusive to the Patreon pigeon print tier. I am going to make it in a larger format, and that's something that I will print and sell at in-person shows, which is something I've actually never done. There's probably going to be a video at some point of doing my first art market, which should be very exciting. But I wanted to make sure that this tier was exclusive online for Patreon members. It's the only way you can get this specific art print in this size as well. Now we can move on to the actual fun part of the video, and that's creating the artwork for the month of June. I gotta be honest, it went really well. I gave myself about a week's time to create this specific artwork. I had known I wanted something bird-like. I just started looking at some bird references. Immediately from the moment that I started blocking in the general shape of this artwork, I kind of knew I had something special. You just know when you're creating something that just feels effortless. It just kind of comes out. I went through the kind of normal steps that I have developed over the past couple of years of what I find works for me when creating art, and that's blocking in a super loose composition or shape for the artwork, following it up with a super rough draft, and then going right into refining a outline and then coloring, shading, and whatever special effects I want to do. I'm very happy to report that I was able to create this artwork within that kind of week span that I had given myself. And not only that, probably one of my favorite art pieces I've ever created. So that was just another big boost of motivation. So in short, after completing this artwork for the Art Mail Club, can I see myself doing this until the heat death of the universe? Yeah, I definitely can. This is something that I did not mind giving a week of my time to. It was inspirational and motivational, and I came out with this, I think, beautiful piece of artwork on the other end. There's also the second note of remixing this artwork to create a sticker. For this specific one, it is kind of a cropped down, slightly edited version of the artwork, but there's definitely going to be months where the stickers are completely new pieces of art that are kind of inspired by the Patreon exclusive art. But with the digital artwork done, it was time to find... So I've always been kind of a little scared guy when it comes to printing my artwork or finding suppliers, and it's definitely been a detriment to my growth as an artist. So as I mentioned in the beginning, I think, I don't know, when I film these videos, it's kind of a whirlwind of anxiety, so I don't know if I mentioned it, but another benefit of creating this art club was pushing me towards actually finding a good and reputable supplier for prints. So I went through a cacophony. Is that even a word?
Cacophony.
I went through a cacophony of suppliers to try and find the best print option that would allow me to have the tiers at a reasonable price for people that want to join, but still have the artwork be high quality. I'm a bit more limited being in Canada. I was trying to find some local stuff. There was definitely some that I got from the US, but I don't even want to get into the whole mess that everything is right now. First, we had MPix, which I've heard great things about, but unfortunately they don't even ship to Canada, so they're crossed out. Catprint was next on my personal list, and they are actually someone that I had ordered prints for my personal usage from before, but they quoted me at $44 in shipping. The shipping price point is a little steep for me, so maybe I can look back into them if I'm privileged enough to get a lot of members and it just makes sense financially to do that. After that, we had a Canadian company called Posterjack, but they didn't even offer 5x7 printing, which is just kind of a baffling choice when it comes to a print shop. And then I looked into a company called Candela, which I actually heard a lot of great stuff on, and I actually did order a print from them. But I got an email about a week later saying, that $10 shipping quote that we gave you is actually incorrect. It's actually $22. Definitely cheaper than Catprint, but still a little on the steeper side. So I just told them that's okay. They gave me a full refund. Nothing bad to say about them. I've heard it's good. So these are the three that well, my mustache hair is in my nose, guys. Hold on. All right, so let's get to the companies that I actually ended up ordering from. There was just 3 of them in the end. So the first one is a company called Gelato, which is a print-on-demand company. I believe they're based in Canada, although sometimes it's kind of hard to figure out exactly where they're printing from. And this was the print that they sent me. In the interest of complete transparency, I'm gonna break down exactly how much these cost, my pros and cons of each one. So for small batch printing, these ended up being $10.40 per print, with $6.30 for shipping. The biggest pro is that the paper feel is super high quality. It feels soft and matte to the touch. The weight is good. Unfortunately, I don't know if it picks up on camera, but the colors were super blown out and undersaturated on this. I also wanted to note that it came in a very questionable shipping package. It was a small piece of paper in quite a large envelope, so it was getting thrown around in the packaging a lot, and the corners of the print were definitely damaged, and that's not something I want to offer to people, so not a good start, but that is Gelato for you. The second supplier that I ordered from was a company called Printful, which I think a lot of people are going to be familiar with. They are a print-on-demand company. They print everything from mugs to t-shirts to tombstones, I believe is one of their options, but I immediately did not like this when I pulled it out of the packaging, solely based on the fact that it is insanely oversaturated, but we're going to get to that in a second. This was $9 per print, and the shipping was $7.25. When it comes to the pros and cons, the paper feel is okay. It's not quite as soft or heavy as the gelato paper, but it's definitely high quality. I like the feel of it. But as I mentioned, it is completely oversaturated. The sun in the background and the beak almost look neon. I don't know how they did it, but I swear if you brought this into a dark room, it would glow. So it's definitely a big con in my book. And I was really hoping that the third printer option would save me, because at this point I wasn't super happy with either of the options that I had been presented. But the third option was actually a local printing shop here in my hometown of Calgary called Little Rock Printing. And I gotta be honest, they really came through with this. It was $1.40 per print, so by far the cheapest printing option when it comes to per print. And when it comes to shipping, it's actually technically free, I guess. It's a local pickup, so I just drive down to the print shop and pick my order up. I guess I gotta pay for gas, but definitely cheaper than any of the other options. So when it comes to the pros and cons of this piece, it definitely has the most accurate color to the artwork that I created, and obviously it's by far the best price. And a final pro, which is kind of unrelated to the artwork, is that I get to support a local business. When it comes to the cons of this particular print, the only one that I can really make note of is the actual paper feel. The weight is good. The paper feel is definitely like a matte photo printer paper. It's not a huge downside, and I think the most important part is that it looks good and the colors are accurate. So I don't think it's, you know, any drum roll or big surprise to say that this is the option I went for. It is, again, by far the cheapest and by far the best looking. But because they're a local, smaller business, I feel like there might be some back and forth we can have and figure out maybe a better paper option for these. Now we can discuss the final supplier, which I didn't even look around or shop around. I've been going to Sticker App for my stickers for like 5 years. I don't really make them too often. I'm starting to make them a bit more as I try and gear up to maybe do an art market. And this is what they printed. Super high quality, but I wanted to just go with a holographic backing, even though it is slightly more expensive. So these will be available on my Etsy if you happen to see this after June, but they are the June month's reward for Patreon. It is $5 for this tier, whereas the sticker on the Etsy is $6. So you save $1 if you happen to see this and you want one in the month of June. I do think that I need to do more research when it comes to prints. In terms of my first month, I'm happy with where we stand. So we can get on to the final step of this whole ordeal: art club, mail club, sticker club, whatever you want to call it. Let's get to shipping. So this is by far going to be the shortest section of the video. I decided to send these as 5x7 prints in this 8x6 mailer. It's a rigid mailer. Hopefully by having them in a rigid mailer, I can prevent any damage. I do want to get an additional backing cardboard, so I still have to figure that out before I actually send them out. The stickers will be sent in normal envelopes. I've always sent them out that way, and I've never had an issue where anyone complained. But again, I might get some very thin cardboard backing just to protect them a little bit more. And I do still have to go through the process of branding these, you know, maybe figuring out some cool stickers, some different colors I can get these printed in, and just kind of make it more personal. I know that there's a lot of people that appreciate and enjoy when things are packaged in a way that reflects the artist. If you happen to be seeing this video in June and you want that 5x7 print, which I ended up naming Solitary Hunt, it is the June reward. I think it's also important to mention that the top tier includes the sticker with it. So if you do the art club membership tier, you get the sticker and the print. This isn't really supposed to be like a huge advertisement for my Patreon, although just due to the nature of the video, it kind of is. It's more meant to be a strategy to keep myself accountable and inspired to create new art every single month. If I get some people that follow, that's cool. If not, that's cool too. This is more so for me than anyone, but if you do like the art and you want to support, the most direct way is through these new membership tiers I've set on Patreon. But if you want to follow me, all my socials are below. If you just want to subscribe or like the video, that means a lot to me as well. I just want to say thank you for watching. Keep creating. Take it easy. See ya.